Welcome to Listen Up Now, to let you know what's going on in your world and my world. Your guy, my guy, right guy.
We're back again. Another exciting guest with us today. We are joined by
Lewis Bell. Everybody calls me Lou. Certified strength and conditioning specialist, skills coach for specifically boxing and tennis, but sports performance coach in general.
Lou, thank you so much for joining us here today. We have a really awesome show ahead. We're going to pick Lou's brain, talk more about the awesome things he has going on, get some of his expertise and something valuable for everyone watching to take home with them.
First and foremost, thank you for joining us. Tennis. Talk to me, your passion. Where did that start and why?
So funny story there. I actually started playing tennis when I was 8 years old. It was a situation where I was just put into it by my parents. So I still remember my first day stepping on the court. It was 114 degrees in Dallas, Texas.
Is that your mom or your dad that made you
My
go?
dad. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, dad's idea.
Okay.
Turns out that I had a talent for it. So I played all the way through high school. I was top 100 in Texas when I was in high school at one point in time. Went on to play tennis for Hampton University. After that, got into other sports. But yeah, always been passionate about tennis. It's a great sport. Chess with more athleticism, and yeah, love it.
I love the analogy. Now I'm going to jump in already. Chess with more movement. Now, talk to me about how strategy comes into play, not only in the tennis world, but also in boxing. How do the two correlate together?
Oh yeah, there's a lot of through lines, which I think is why I fell in love with both of them. So as far as tennis goes, it really depends on the level that you're playing at, and that's been an interesting journey for me as I've started to lean more into coaching beginners and intermediate players, is seeing that you really have to water back down to the basics, but also seeing, again, the importance of having those so that you can progress to the other levels. So just understanding where you are in space, understanding how you're presenting yourself, teaching people how to read other people's body language so that you know how to, interact with that as well. And then on top of that, just being able to endure every challenge. And the biggest thing I always try to impress on everyone is to have that goldfish memory. Make a mistake, learn from it, move on. Have a success, learn from it, move on.
100%. I think that's something people get caught up in, is it hurts to go through failure and to feel like you didn't quite hit what you wanted to do. And it's easy to take that personal almost. Either take it personal in a good way, Michael Jordan style maybe, or in a bad way, and you kind of let it shut you down. So having that goldfish mentality, thinking, hey, this is one failure, it's behind me, let's move on to the next one, let's learn from it, that's 100% right.
Especially when you're getting hit in the face.
Yeah. And I think along the lines of that whole mentality you're talking about, you being a former D1 tennis athlete, I wanted to know how that experience sort of shaped your approach to coaching and performance training today.
I think it's just informed it as far as me being able to say that I've walked the walk. There are a lot of coaches, and no knock on them, there are the coaches who just haven't had that experience, and they can still teach you very well how to walk the path, but there's a difference between having experienced it firsthand and being able to communicate that, and just being able to communicate it and guide somebody else through it as well. So yeah, really formative years, being able to relate back and say, hey, I know what it's like to not have had, the greatest sleep and then have to wake up and perform and hit the gym, even though you'd rather be doing X, Y, and Z, especially when you're, younger.
And that's an extremely valid point, especially when you're younger, because we think we are indestructible, we can do everything. Now, as a Division I tennis player, your freshman year, you walk on campus. Walk me through what that experience is like, knowing you're going to be representing your school at that level.
I think it's different for everyone. I know for me, especially having been at Hampton University, and just again, like growing up being a tennis player in Texas, where other sports are more so the focus for everyone, there's a very different experience, I think, from being like a basketball player or a football player. So you're a tennis player, you're doing great, you know how good you are, but the rest of the student body might not care as much. So that was something that we in the golf team kind of got along about. But just my personal experience with it was being able to have the great experience to me of walking that line of, in one circle and in one space, I'm this great athletic, kind of
talent there for the university. Absolutely. Exactly. Division I is absolutely that.
And then in another space, you're just a student, so,
but it humbles you.
Exactly. That's why it's a good thing. It is humbling.
Feeling that separation of student and athlete, even though you are both.
Exactly. Yeah.
100%.
You definitely get both sides.
Yeah. And I'm curious because then obviously I know you're not playing tennis right now, or at least not that level anymore. Mm-hmm. You've transitioned into like this personal training fitness space. Mm-hmm. What was sort of your inspiration to pursue certification and transition into strength and conditioning?
Yeah, so that kind of came about from me trying to find my space in sports and athleticism after school, which is something that I wish that they had prepared us for, making that transition from, athlete to just civilian in a lot of ways. Long story short, trying to shorten it. basically, I got into fitness just from being in the habit of it. Fell in love with boxing after school because I needed a new sport. Met a great boxing coach. After the pandemic, after 2020, I got associated with this gym called TTY Boxing and Fitness, the Thump Yard, because they're in the local area in Brentwood, Maryland. And that nonprofit gym runs largely on volunteer work. When I first started there, in a short amount of time, I was able to start kind of providing coaching for some of the younger kids, some of the beginners who would walk in. And I found that I was able to blend what I knew about athleticism from having been a D1 athlete and having had, those gym workouts with my love for boxing. And then me being me, I just doubled down on it. and it was like, okay, cool. How far can I take this? What's the next tournament? What's the next level? How do I get better at this? And that led to me pursuing my NSCA certification in strength and conditioning specialization.
Seems like you're walking your path. I know a lot of people say that, and you probably heard that 1,000 times, but it is true. You fall into those things that you gravitate to. And I've seen the film. And if you're not following him, please, we're going to put up all your links right about now. If you want to give us a quick shout out, they can follow you at.
Yeah, please follow me at Keep Swinging DMV.
And more importantly, on that page, what I've noticed, you have a high volume of young girls now playing the sport of tennis at a more competitive level. Have you noticed both those demographics growing?
Oh, yeah, definitely. And I mean, shout out to Coco Golf.
Yes, we will shout her out.
Yeah, that's a big part of it. And that's been a beautiful thing about the sport of tennis is seeing increased diversity in the players and seeing this domination by players of all backgrounds and all races and everything too. So that has a huge impact. I know right now that tennis skirts are also like a huge fashion thing, so that helps a lot too. And then I think too, we're getting into a space where we're able to really break down barriers for access, which is something that I am really focused on as far as being able to provide tennis services. So the kids who come to the boxing gym also know they can get free tennis lessons with me. And then I make it a point when I partner with other tennis service providers that I also make myself available for people who want to step outside and just continue to try and pursue the sport and develop themselves even if they don't want to compete.
Yeah, and I'm glad you touched on that because it kind of leads me to another question I had in mind, which was with the coaching across boxing, tennis, strength, and even general fitness, there's a lot of on-the-nose differences, right? But I was curious, what principles remain consistent through all of that?
The swinging.
That's a good one.
Yeah. The rotational movements, everything being in that same kind of plane of movement, I think is the biggest, most obvious one. So in both cases, you're using, both your arms and both your hands to be able to have this really high level of coordination and movement, and then also placing that with your feet as well. So people who play both sports will tell you more than anything, boxing is about your footwork. More than anything, tennis is about your footwork. So I'm able to incorporate these full body exercises with these really high intensity cerebral exercises and movements that we have with the two sports. And that's been great for kids who are establishing their relationship with their body and for adults who are kind of either finding it again or finding it for the first time because they didn't play sports growing up.
I think people don't realize or don't respect enough the fact that your body just can't turn on like that. So when you're going from one end to the court, just because your kid is doing it does not translate to your body. Which brings me to a quick question. As a conditioning strength coach, what is the number one focus on your training? Is it more lower body, more muscle memory for explosion? What's your philosophy when you're training, especially when you're looking at a tennis player or a boxer, or are they both the same?
They're slightly different. I want to have good core strength and control in both cases. Everything kind of moves up through the trunk. So even if you have your feet under you, if you have a weak core, then you're not going to be able to translate that power. It's kind of like having a strong motor, but with a weak transmission. So you definitely have to have both of those. So we always make sure that I do full body exercises almost every session, which takes some getting used to because I know people are typically used to some sort of split. But being able to have the ability to play year round, like you really have to do with tennis and in boxing, which makes both of those sports unique. We don't have the luxury of training one specific muscle group so intensely and then giving it the time to rest. You need to be able to fight almost, within a week's notice. You need to be able to play a tennis match, ideally every weekend. Tennis is a unique sport. The more time you take off of it, the more time you have to spend trying to get back to where you were. So we really have to be efficient in our exercises in that capacity.
Yeah, and that consistency is so key. I wanted to ask you, because especially for people getting into the gym, even if they're not pursuing a sport on such a high level, what strategies strategies do you use to keep people motivated and sort of accountable in that consistency?
A lot of gamification. I'm really big on making sure that we are having fun. And that's one thing that I think if you grew up playing tennis, you saw not a lot of. There is a lot of pressure that's placed on you, especially as a kid when you're in that world, to perform well. And I want to keep that same level of intensity, but also help you remember that the stakes are not that high, that at the end of the day, this is a game. And this is just something that you're doing to progress yourself and to challenge yourself, and that nothing bad's going to happen to you if you lose. So all I ask is that everybody comes out there and gives their best every single session, and then reminding them that your best is going to look different every single day.
So as you're working with these clients, whether they're 50 plus or whether it's a 5-year-old, you're acting more as a mentor along those lines when they're taking the L's versus when they're getting the W's. Mm-hmm. Is that something you're finding more of in your role as a coach or as a volunteer with your non-for-profit?
Definitely.
Okay.
and we always laugh about it in my family, because on my dad's side, it's just a string of social workers and therapists and people who are, really focused on being there and being of service to others. And it's funny because no matter what, we always end up coming back to it. And I found that functioning as a coach, whether that be for fitness or tennis or boxing or anything else, you are also, in a lot of ways, if you're a good coach, in my opinion, you're kind of a therapist. You're kind of a, in some cases, a mom or a dad. You're kind of, in some cases, a friend.
Big brother.
Uncle.
Yeah. Uncle, cousin. Listen, everything.
You got to be able to be whatever it is that your client, your player, your person needs at that point in time.
For someone who came up in the park districts with these programs and had great mentors like you, help give me some opportunity to see things differently. And I hope that whoever's listening today really reaches out to you, come out, experience what Mr. Bell is doing over here, the great work, whether it's tennis or boxing. But more importantly, I want to ask, for your not-for-profit, are you getting enough support from your community, from your peers, or is that something you're still going at it by yourself?
We are. And that's part of what I love about the Thump Yard, is that we are so focused on community that the community is what runs the gym. So shout out to Jonathan and Rigo de la Cruz. They've done a great job of taking the Thump Yard from really what was just a backyard, unsanctioned kind of sparring situation that brought together the community to end gun violence and help find ways to have people resolve issues less violently. They were able to grow that into the situation where we have this gym space where we're able to service all of these kids who honestly don't unfortunately have too much else to do. So we're able to take their energy, put it into something constructive, and we're able to have the adults and the older people be able to bring their wisdom and their skills to be able to do the same. And a lot of the times what they find out is that they are more fulfilled from that than they are from, the amount of push-ups that they were looking to be able to do at the end of the day.
And it's incredible to me that you find the time in the day to do everything that you have going on, because I know on top of that, you're also the program manager. You have your hand in a lot of the operations over at Domain Fitness as well. Can you tell me what that day-to-day sort of looks like for you at this stage?
Yeah, so I am extremely judicious with my time. I have to be. And thankfully, I have a background in business development. So prior to me leaning more full-time into my athletic pursuits, I worked with startups specifically. So I'm used to wearing a bunch of different hats and having to, maximize every minute of every single day. So in my time with Domain, really what's happened as that organization continues to grow and we continue to evolve, what we found is that we have to delegate different tasks to different team members. And so I've been able to really just lean into the boxing side of things and the group fitness side of things and bring the ideas that I have for how the business can grow, pass it off to the appropriate people because delegation is so important, and then have managers like Nicole, have managers like Mike Gordon be able to run it up the ladder and share those ideas with Jason and the rest of the executive team, and then step back.
Listen, I give all my great ideas to Rye Guy and then he takes full credit. So I totally understand how that works. And by the way, Domain, an amazing facility. One of the best things I saw in there were the bags. Now, how many bags are in there?
So right now we have 7. The good thing, and this is what I love about being up there, is that there are so many people on the staff who are also big fans of boxing and who are on the executive team who are big fans of boxing. So we're looking to build out that space even more. We're going to have some speed bags. Fingers crossed. Yeah. We're definitely going to put in some more bags. Some different types of bags so we can work on different types of punches. Yeah, I'm looking forward to the future of boxing over there.
And I was curious to ask, can you walk us through maybe the process for designing these sort of group training programs that work for athletes of different levels at that point? Is it kind of difficult managing so many groups of people from different walks?
How do you manage Rye Guy and me at the same time? Good luck to you.
That's the question. And that honestly, that's just the skill of it. And one thing that I love that was affirmed from being able to work under Myron Flowers at Domain is that I was able to really kind of get reaffirmed in the idea that this is just as much of an art as it is a science. So whenever we have group classes, I hang out at the front desk, or whenever I'm at the boxing gym, I hang out at the front desk. I see who comes in, and I am building as we go. So I'm paying attention to your body language. I'm paying attention to your complaints. I'm paying attention to what we did last time.
Hold on. You're actually taking time to listen to what your clients want and need, identifying those and creating solutions. I love it.
Synthesize it all in real time.
But that's the joy of a small business. That's the joy of why we do what we do, because you're able to personalize your service, your brand with those individuals, and they'll carry that throughout their lives.
Yeah. And which is the reason why I do it, because it is exhausting. It's a lot of mental work. And then on top of that, you have to be able to do the physical work. And on top of that, you have to do the physical work and not look tired in your class. So yeah, it's
well, listen, you're doing an amazing job, because I'm tired already and I have not even put on gloves yet.
We were talking a bit about, different trends, identifying different trends and how things are growing, the learning process from it. And so I did want to ask, on the business side of things, do you see any trends that are sort of shaping the future of fitness business operations? Especially when we're talking about community-based gyms like Domain?
Yeah. I think community-based is the future of everything now. I'm trying not to crystal ball this thing.
No, please do, because if anything, I'm old enough to know newspapers. So the fact that we're able to get this information now and hear thoughts in almost real time is amazing to me. So please elaborate. Let us know how you're seeing your space.
No, I think the biggest thing is just leaning into this sort of resurgence of what they call third spaces. So we're going to have gyms, I think, more so in the future that are one-stop shops for everything. So it won't just be, I come in here to work out. It'll be, I come in here to work out, and they have a smoothie bar. They have childcare in this space. They have these different types of groups that allow me to interact with like-minded people. And then we can sort of move around in those different circles all under one roof, or within, one block, or however it is it looks like in the future. Because that's the biggest thing that's been happening at TTY. And what they're starting to build over at Domain, thankfully, is that you have this space where I get to come in, meet people who I otherwise would never get a chance to run into, right? Which is the whole point of that third space situation. And then establish those connections and make friends, present challenges to each other, learn from people who I otherwise wouldn't have had the chance to have a conversation with, which is why we're here today. So,
well, we're on the subject of community, networking, touching lives. Talk to me about the Thump Yard. What's going on there? Is there next fight? What's happening?
Yeah, no, so we have so many good big things happening there. The Thump Yard, the name, I'm not sure where thumping came from.
Okay.
I think that's just,
I can imagine where it came from. I might used to call it something else, but yeah, it was a thumping. Trust that.
Yeah, so they definitely, the yard part comes from, like I said, Jonathan and Rigo had
in the backyard
functions in the backyard, and then we're able to move that into the gym. But since then, like I said, they've grown so much, and I'm so excited about what we have.
How many kids are involved in this program?
That's the question.
Okay. Wow.
Too many to count.
I know, right?
A lot to count. And then the kids cycle through, and because of the nature of the type of youth that we serve, their home situations are ever changing. Sure. So you get this cycle coming through, and you have to work with it as it goes.
Do you have a cutoff age for these kids, or you just, as long as they want to stay true to the program, you work with them?
Okay. Oh yeah, 100%. Yeah. So you can come in 4 or 5 years old, and we'll get you geared up.
Or you can be a knucklehead at 16, see if you got a talent.
Those are my favorite.
Yeah.
Those are 100% my favorite. Yeah. But outside of that too, we have the youth who are actually focused on fitness. We have the youth who are focused on competition. So we have athletes like Josiah who are participating in the Olympics, or the Youth Olympics. I'm sorry.
Okay. Is that taking place for?
So he just recently got back. He placed second. But this is a kid who's been boxing for, I think, like a year and a half now in the Junior Olympics. Yeah, placed second in the Junior Olympics. Those kids, come from all over the country, and they get to compete against each other, and then lots of pros show up. So you get to meet the stars that you're looking up to and the future stars. And then we also have, some of those same names under our roof. So we have the Shaquille Daly, we have Demetrius Chaos Lewis, we have Jalil Hackett, we have Nico, and they're all honestly positioned to be next. Big shout out to Chaos. He just was the underdog in a fight, and is now, I believe the way the rankings work, he should be placed in the top 15 in the country. And
is the boxing scene that under wraps in DC, or is this something that's starting to come out of its shell?
It's big, but you got to be paying attention to it to not see what's going on outside of the bright lights of like a Canelo or like a,
Gotcha.
Gervonta Tank Davis. So it's not that the light isn't also bright on them. It's just that the light's on the Canelo and those guys are
The money.
Yeah.
It's just they're not fighting Jake Paul yet.
Exactly.
We got to give him like 30 years.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. Give them some
Once
time
they're
to
old.
age up there.
Well, listen, let me stop you both right there because you both are in the social media space. Now, as a boxing coach, do you look at those fights as jokes, or is there a benefit there to promote the sport via social media, like a Jake Paul? How do you feel about those style of fights? Does it cheapen the brand or the beauty of boxing, or does it bring more of a spotlight?
No, I think it definitely brings more of a spotlight. It definitely brings in more of the casual fans. The marketing side of things is genius. I cannot knock it at all.
I think we can agree.
Yeah, the eyeballs are there. And then there are other people in the sport who are also doing things. I love what Brock's Raw is doing with the sparring club and, a couple of other promoters who are stepping into the space now. As far as the fights themselves go, I'm sure there's a plan for everything. I'm still mad about the Tyson outcome. I definitely think that could have and should have gone differently. I think we put them in an alley, we get a different outcome.
Do not put me anywhere with Tyson, especially an alley.
Yeah. So I think that's the biggest challenge.
Okay.
When you introduce the rules, when you introduce the lights, when you introduce the politics, you get a different type of outcome.
And we're getting just about out of the time here. So just wanted to take a moment to thank you again so much for taking the time today. Join us, have this conversation. We've learned a lot of great stuff and had a good laugh, as well. So did have one more question. And before we go, I did want to ask, shifting back to the business side, I know there's been this progression from coach into, player really, to coach into leadership and management. What advice would you give to people who are developing both their coaching and business skills?
Remind yourself, I guess, that you're a student. I think that's the biggest thing, is that your job is to pass on information. And in order to have that information, you first have to have absorbed it, and you need to always be on top of the latest and greatest. I think you'll find that the coaches who do the best are the ones who treat themselves as forever students. So always be learning, always be improving. The same thing that you ask your players to do. Always be challenging yourself.
Well, it starts from the top down. You make investments in people, not things.
Yep.
And want to definitely thank you again, Lou. This has been an awesome conversation. I've learned so much that I thought I knew, and the more I know about what I don't know, I know. And I want to know more about the Junior Olympics and stuff like that. So next time we have you on, we want to bring Joe in, want to talk more about that. That's amazing work, though.
Thank you.
Congratulations on
Can't
that,
wait to come
man.
back. Thank
So,
you. Yeah.
so when's he going to go pro? 18?
It's up to him. So big shout out to him. He just got a scholarship. So we'll see what he wants to do, and that's what I love. The sport should open up doors for you to be able to do other things as well. I don't want anyone to be so great that they're pigeonholed into this one lifestyle for forever. So seeing him be able to have other academic pursuits and other just life pursuits in general is what we're here for.
And once again, if you want to shout anything out, we'll put it out there, and we'll put all the links and everything as well.
Cool. Yeah, like I said, you can find everything on me at Keep Swinging DMV. Please check out the Thump Yard, T2I Boxing in Brentwood, Maryland. And of course, swing by Domain, see what they're building over there, Domain Fitness and Performance in Burtonsville.